My Gavan and Melanine, and well met indeed. I am Arachia Galadirthan, the head of the modding team behind Divide and Conquer. And welcome to Divide and Conquer as we start again, but with so much different, on our Total War Dol Amroth submod. This is Divide and Conquer, but edited one stage further for a type of submod that many people have asked for, submod, whereby there are no preset diplomatic relations. Everybody is neutral to everybody. However, there are now some key differences to that. First and foremost, everybody now hates everybody. Everyone's relations start at -1. Further to that, there is no invasions in this submod of Divide and Conquer. Invasions will remain in Divide and Conquer. They will not be in this additional submod that you choose to download. There are no invasions in this submod. Hopefully, anyway. I haven't tested that one. But I've done what all the guides tell me to do. Furthermore, I've also played around with the campaign AI file itself and edited it so that basically if nations are neutral now, the key reason why the last campaign was no one was going to ever attack anyone, the question it now asks each other is essentially, does the neighbouring nation next to me, am I a minimum of half their military strength? If I am, I can attack them. So that is now the only real check. Are you at least half the strength of your neighbour? Now, I've done 4 test campaigns to level 15, and I did none of them as Dol Amroth, but just to double check that it had worked. And some of the things I saw were Gondor attacked Rohan, Harad attacked Khand, Misty Mountains attacked Angmar, Dale and Erebor went to war, and Northern Dunedain attacked Angmar, Misty attacked the Vale of Anduin. I saw all the manner of relations changing in the first 15 turns, so fingers crossed, touch wood. It has worked. Now, one of the things that I just left off of that list, however, is that in all 4 of my test campaigns, Gondor attacked Dol Amroth. So we are going to be under the Kosh 1 fears. However, if we get lucky and Harad and Mordor and Rohan and Ennard Wythe all attack Gondor, then we can just dip in there like vultures and pick the carcass clean. Our victory conditions are to hold 30 regions only, and as I've said before, everyone is neutral to everyone, but it is advisable to be at war with the slave faction. Now, this is as up-to-date as humanly possible. I'm recording this on Thursday, the 28th of September, and I just finished doing a ton of modding over this week, in fact, that edits for version 2. There are some key changes. Chief amongst them is the start that you are currently seeing is the same as the normal start for Divide and Conquer in the standard one. And yes, Gobel Tolfalas now belongs to Dol Amroth at turn 1. Not only this, but Gobel Tolfalas now uses, as I've already mentioned, that custom battle map, which has been edited to be on the eastern side of the island. But it is also now a stronghold, so that it can never upgrade, so that it remains this custom settlement throughout the game. Although, as you will note, there's virtually nothing built there, and the population is only 267. So, that'll never change, which is good. So Gondor, Dol Amroth get that little boost. Now, part of the reason why Dol Amroth get that little boost is because I added this, a delta to the Harnan River, which allows Umbar to now actually cross the river, and they do that. They are now really active, and we're currently testing ways in which to make Dol Amroth strong enough to defeat both Harad and Umbar, who now attack them from pretty much turn 10 or so. Additionally, in an attempt to make Harad a bit more aggressive, this little island in the centre of the Harnan has also been added because the AI, whilst it can do land bridges, it can't really handle them if they're over a certain distance, and it needs these short jumps in order to make it work, which is exactly why the mouth of the Anduin, the Aether Anduin, why that works. So I've basically copied that system for the Harnan and for halfway up Finabel. There's various other changes which you will see, and I don't want to spoil too much because it will be in a developer diary, I suppose, anyway. But for now, we're just going to get down to it. And what we are going to need to do... Oh, something I did as well, hopefully that will come through, is I did make... All of the buildings now are subject to the increased turn times that I had suggested we were going to do. Everything is now more expensive and takes longer to build. So you really have to think about what you're going to do with your buildings. And it also means that getting the Masons Hall, the Masons Guild, some variant of, is always advisable, because otherwise your buildings will be almost impossibly expensive. As that actually gives you the 10% boost is now quite substantial. But what I came at that the wrong way round, but what I was meaning to say is that public order has now been played around with fairly substantially, and the key features now are buildings that give a bonus to law. They actually have quite a strong bonus to your public order, and cultural unrest is a big problem. So as you can see here, we've got hardly any different cultures in this place, so the cultural unrest is very low, countered by the garrison. But the garrison is that large, and it's only giving 20%, which is actually not too bad, I suppose. But public order is not enough that you really have to... I don't want it to be a major factor of the game. I don't want you to really have to think, like, oh, how am I going to... I'll get that in first. Like, how am I going to control this settlement? Every settlement I own hates me. What is up with that? Why does everyone hate me? It's not going to be that kind of thing. It's not going to be a pain. It's just going to be something you actually have to think about now. What I am going to do, though, is even though we are not going to be making much... No, I don't know. I'm already torn. I've had the benefit of those test campaigns, which obviously told me Gondor is going to come for me really hard. And I don't want to ally with Gondor. I kind of want to attack them, so... But we can move for a Theland at least, so... Let's move those around there. Take everything that wasn't free.
Ready your weapons.
Bring Barragund round as well. Theland now has a substantial garrison, including Anfilas Pikemen. I wanted to throw them in there to see what that was like. 3, 4. Apologies, I'm going to count now. Only to 13 seconds, hopefully. Yes! Swift turn times, everyone. Swift turn times are in order. He says, with the Bree land then taking forever. No, but we're alright. It's only the first term. A suitable husband has betrayed... Oh, you're 61. No, thank you. Now, one thing from all of my testing, you won't really see anybody attack anyone till about turn 6 or 7. And this is partially because in the campaign database file, they are set to not attack anyone until at least a minimum of turn 5. So that gives you an idea of when you can expect people to rise up. The turn time increase to the buildings has been hailed by many as a terrible idea. And we've had a lot of people saying this is awful, you're going to ruin the game. And I've said to them, hold on, just wait and play the game before you've decided that we've ruined it.
Let us claim this
and this will be an opportunity to show that very thing. Now, with all of these guys out, how much money are we making? Only about 1,000. That's not great. Admiral by Meldir, who's brought Matt Mikkelsen. No. It's Jake Gyllenhaal, isn't it? Yeah, there we are. The reason he looks like a ranger is because he has the rangers. Same reason why Mistvan has that kind of bedraggled look. He is also a ranger. Gobel Tofalas gets you some pretty good troops pretty damn swiftly, doesn't it? What I might do, actually, is move to take Barad Han pretty quickly. If we can swap Imrahil out for a unit of anything.
Ships ready. Captain of Gondor. Protect the blood of Numenor.
And look to move people over. There is really so much different about not just this Total War submod, but just this version 2. In the past week, so much has happened. And the developer diary feels like it was relevant a year ago. I mean, just unbelievable amount of stuff has changed. So that would be cool to see as we go through. Now, Captain Mistor now has a really substantial army. These cell swords, you have not seen these before. I've not talked about them in any video. This is their introduction to you all. These are the new standard bodyguard if any general of any nation rebels. It used to be the bandits. The bandits are actually going to be cut from the game completely. That unit will no longer exist. The sellswords are going to take their place. And sellswords are actually very good. Because they are bodyguards, they needed to be stronger, so we made them stronger. But that brings into stark relief the fact that I'm not sure we can actually take the army that we've attacked here. So I'm going to pull out.
Retreat!
Now, a key difference from this, from previous versions, as I spoke about, I think in the developer diary, but it's been adapted further, is that the AI now actually does things as rebels. And by this, of course, I mean the rebel nation, which are now called independent realms, as you may have seen. There's an independent army. They are now active. Any general that starts outside of a city, like this gentleman over here, Captain Nimraden, he will, if he gets the chance, attack me. If he thinks he's stronger than Lynn here, he will just move in to attack it. That is something you do now have to actually watch out for. Right, our little ramshackle army here. Now, on turn 35 as well, there's more to this. On turn 35, any city that has not been claimed by a normal faction, so is still a independent realm city, they will then start to also do things. They will empty their garrisons and they'll move around and attack. So you've really got to be on guard, basically. The rebels are now an active threat. They're not just annoying in bushes around the map in various places doing sod all, but annoying you. They're now moving around and annoying you. That doesn't look like that. Is space hyphen space? No, it wasn't. Space hyphen space. There we are. Save game. Game save succeeded. Here we are, Adriel. Our first great battle. The first time I've ever seen the sellswords in battle, actually. Hummingbird made them about a week ago. Now, a few other things to mention. First, I did an interview on Total War Center for Total War Center's. They like kind of their. They have like a paper, a newspaper, or a leaflet. Not a leaflet. I don't know what. A magazine. Let's go with magazine. It releases articles every now and then on Total War Center for the members of Total War Center to read. It's called Eagle Standard, and they interviewed me a while back for an interview with a modder, really, and. That has recently gone live, and I'll pop a link of that in the description below, so you can have a read if you want, but if you followed me on YouTube a great deal, it won't be anything new to you, I can promise you that. You'll know all about it. The other thing is that El Monstero, who has given me all of these nice swanky loading screens that you see, he has actually given me a load more loading screens that you see dotted around on my loading times. So you'll get some new loading images in version 2 that you will never have seen before. Right, let's go and look at... There's some Anfilas pikemen, but coming up next to them are the sellswords. Oh, and they do look very good, don't they? They look really medieval and unaligned. They could be fighting for Sauron or they could be fighting for Gondor. There's no affiliation. They look really good, really very good. Oh, we haven't actually killed very many units. I just realised as well, we've only got... Adrahil as infantry. And 2 units of Nimrodel Rangers, though. Firing their great steel bows into the enemy. Oh, look at the speed of the Royal Swan Guard. Remember, bandits are absolutely useless. They're still as weak as they always were. I want you to be shooting the pikemen, really. Adrahil should be able to take out these sellswords. If we just have a look. Adrahil does 15 attack damage. His defense is 30. Or the Talon Knights. The sellswords do 15 attack damage. But their defense is only 18. So, pretty similar numbers as well. Who charged you? Oh, the bandits. Oh, the pikemen are over there, bugger. You guys have got those sellswords on the run, that's good. You hit back into those bandits. You hit back into those sellswords. And you guys... Oh, I wonder if you could actually make for the square. No, I increased the turn timer to 6 minutes. I can no longer cheese the game as I used to be able to. Nice. Nice press, pull away. You're charging them in the back. But you got no real benefit out of it. And a couple of you got caught by the pikemen. How are the archers doing? They're really going hard for him, aren't they? You there. Oh, good charge from the cavalry there. Switch to the sellswords. I get that cavalry unit over the back there. Get you guys around that side. How are you guys doing against the sellswords? Oh wow, they're really giving them a run for their money. How are you guys in actual battle? 8-13. Now you'll lose.
Only half the enemy force remains.
Run them back over there. Is that the general? No, that's just the officer. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I forgot about the cavalry again. Well, actually, we're doing very... Oh, good God, we're doing outrageously well. Archers and Talon Knights. Unstoppable. You guys move over there. Have you won here? Yeah. Adrian burning his way through the enemy there. We have masterfully forced the enemy to just chase us around the map, basically.
The battle is very much in our favour. Victory will be ours.
Well, you've just totally screwed up, haven't you? No, that's not what I wanted you to do. I've ignored you as well. Oh, bugger, they shut the door. Those sellswords are taking a right beating. Oh, sorry, fellas. They have a Gondorian. A rebel Gondorian leads them. I'll no bloody doubt we're going to murder them then. Right, you gentlemen, I'm going to need your bows. So if you run over here, please. Talon Knights, those Amphalas pikemen, and you guys come for those sellswords. Because the enemy will continuously attack us and run back and attack us and run back and attack us and run back.
Guard him well and make it so he can see us defeat the rest of his army.
They might not, actually. They might not. Once these pikemen go down. Men of Gondor already getting a taste for the blood of Dol Amroth. They got to get ready. For Númenórean blood flows in our veins. We have not watered ourselves down with the common muck that existed in Gondor upon the arrival of the Númenóreans. We have stayed pure. If anything, elevating our blood. 168, 1034.
Remember this day. Remember it as the day of our most glorious victory.
My God, Royal Swan Guard are still OP, aren't they? There's like 18 of them. They killed 150. Given that the last version of this campaign, you note that the thumbnails are slightly different. I used the Lord of the Rings font I recently gained from Matt's to make my profile stuff on YouTube. So the thumbnails are slightly different. And you will note that the last time we tried to do this, we got 6 episodes in. So in an attempt to speed that up, I'm going to do the first 3 episodes an hour in length so that we reach the same point, basically. Right, Imrahil has been attacked by the bandits. Thorondor comes with mercenaries and Horondor mercs. Or bandits, sorry, and Horondor mercs. And that's basically it. So it's an elite... Or it's not an elite. It is an army of Dol Amroth versus bandits. And Prince Imrahil is about to shine. Last time I completely ignored him and I left him as the governor of Dol Amroth and I took all the other generals away. This time I'm not going to do that. But if you want an idea of what my overall plan is, I am hoping to basically run away. If we start a fight with Gondor, or if Gondor starts a fight with us, which is very likely. I should note as well, by the way, that looking into the campaign AI file, I note that the game is really horrible if you are a human player. By that I mean the game is far more aggressive towards a human than it is towards any AIs. And that's part of the reason why no one attacked anyone in the last one as well.
Foes appear to be gaining the upper hand. Defeat seems almost certain.
No, it's not. Imrahil! Oh, and with one charge of the Royal Swan Guard.
Only half the enemy force
2
remains.
units of bandits abandon the cause. No, hit the Horondor Max. That was an awful charge. I mean, I asked if you could charge the Horondor Max, not dance into them. There we go, that's much better. There we are, they're broken and they're dead. Right, who else is coming? These people over here.
We've captured the enemy army flees the field. Pursue and run them down.
Imrahil. Pulled out just in time. Get him out of there! Oh, Shiza, they're not in the right positions.
For defeat seems almost certain.
Shouldn't do it at time 6 really, but my flaws that in every YouTube video I've ever done, unfortunately are going to continue. And whether we win or lose this, I will very much unlikely. I'm still not there. I am very much still unlikely to change the way I play just because we are now going to face an almighty threat in Gondor. 319 in real. So I will continue with the tactics I use every time. And if we succeed, we succeed. If we fail, we fail. Now, I know what you're asking yourself. You say, what the hell is that a picture of? Well, that is a picture of the Negligible dwarven necklace. That necklace is the very reason why the elves and the dwarves fought against each other, if briefly, in the First Age. Send emissary, Kingdom of Gondor. Ah, we've built all our Mason's halls. Brilliant, brilliant. Do we go even cheaper and get the next tier with the 18%? Do we try and get some food and stuff? I tell you what, you go for a farm. Methrest. You could get a shipwright. You could get only 100 gold on the mining. That's not very good. Lynn here, have you got more profitable mines? You don't even have mines, and you haven't even got a mason slot yet. You go for farms as well. Methrest. Well, it's the only thing you can actually get, so you go for farms as well. Oh, no, I'll tell you what I should have done then. In the places that can get the Mason's Hall, do. Because Methrest, for example, cannot. What did I build in Lynn here? You're not building anything. Baradhan hasn't got anything yet. You can't actually afford that. You can afford communal farming. And you can afford a town hall. Oh, and Horondor mercs aren't too far away.
Ships ready. Yes, sir.
Imrahil. Another thing that the keen-eyed amongst you will have noticed, and one thing that the very keen-eyed amongst you will already know, and it's obvious to some people, won't be obvious to everyone, but right now I'm displaying something very new, which is a key change to the Southern Theatre. But something that some of you will have noticed is that Dol Amroth was completely visible from turn 1. And that is because, at my behest, El Monstero, one of our bugger chief beta testers, get back into there. Crap, the rebels are coming for us. El Monstero has gone around the map for certain factions only. So do note that it is only some factions. I'm gonna... what do I do with this army here? Good God. Put you 4 in there. You 2 might as well stay. You're both militia. You're not going to be doing anything. Yeah. So he's gone around the map and he's gone to Dol Amroth, Gondor, Linden, Imladris, the starting capital for Harad and Rune, and I think that's it. And he's added a plethora of watchtowers, with the theory being that these are the only real developed nations who would bother building watchtowers above ground. Some of you will come back and say, well, the dwarves are a really developed nation, and I would say yes they are, but I'm not sure that they would bother mapping all of their regions with watchtowers. They're concerned about a single point of their territory, not the lands around it. Taking the dwarves, you've got to take their cities. You haven't got to take the ground above their cities. So I don't think they'd bother with the watchtowers, and that's the line I've gone for. So the dwarves don't have it, but Imladris and Linden do, and it just means that you don't have to move around mapping the world for those territories, which is brilliant, because obviously I love building watchtowers. I do it in every region I take, and I use it as information non-stop. Did you manage to guess what that difference there was? Hopefully, because I'm now right-clicking. If you didn't guess, there is a new region here called Northern Horondor. This region used to be called Western Horondor. Western is now on the southwest. Northern now covers the entire northern side, up to this river. And then it becomes Eastern Horondor. So there's a new region added there. And I'm not going to tell you which region was taken away to do it. Instead, I'm going to let you guess. So have a guess. What region do you think I've removed in order to make Northern Horondor? Good God, we're not making much money, are we? Who was the fastest here? You there. Watchtower in Etheland. That's all we really need. Right. Nimradan is just roaming around, isn't he? He doesn't want my troops in that fort. Just got to get our monies up. I also gave a, not substantial, but what is in the game files, a 0.3 boost to trade. So now the most profitable ways to make money are trade and mining, and farming and taxes are ever so slightly less. So it's focuses, basically, if you get a region with mines in now, it's going to be wealthier than you think. And if you can set up trade links with people around you, that will also be wealthier than you. That will be better than you think. See, this building used to cost 600 and it used to take 2 turns to build. It now costs 1,600 and it takes 4 turns to build. This building used to take 2 turns and cost 800. You get the point. But with the building of the Masons Guilds, you can swiftly make buildings cheaper. I mean, I think the top prize of the Masons Guild, if I am not mistaken... not Mason's Guild. Oh, you actually get a Mason's Guild as Dol Amroth. Oh, that's good. The top one gives you a 26% reduction, which is brilliant. And the Mason's Guild itself gives you a further reduction of 30%. And if you're lucky enough to get the Master Masons, you get a 20% globally. Because that 30% is in the region that you build the guild. So if you can... excuse me, sorry. If you are lucky enough to be a nation that gets a Mason's Guild, which is just Gondor, Dol Amroth, and the Dwarves, I think, then you can get a 56% building reduction cost, which is excellent. That is excellent. But you've got to get lucky and get the Mason's Guild. Now you're asking me, Galu, how do I get these fabled Mason's Guilds? And the answer, my friends, is simple. Build the Mason's Hall. The clue is in the name. For now, let's start getting a few militia to just pepper around. Because a one Haven Guard unit costs about as much as a building. So You've got to really think about what you're going to want there. Now, Gondor are going to be likely to be aggressive towards me, but the one saving grace, the one thing I don't actually think I can edit from my looking around, is I don't think I can make it so that nations that are the same religion are not less inclined to attack each other, if that makes sense. So at the moment, a Catholic faction is less likely to attack another Catholic faction, and they are more likely to attack anyone else, basically. And that, as I say, is something I don't think I can actually change. Now, a lot of these units that I'm recruiting are going to go into forts so that we continue to have free upkeep. But we are probably going to have to deal with Nimradan, because otherwise we can't use that fort to the north. Now, do we try and rush Goba movement? No, what we want to try and do is get a bloody alliance with Umbar. Get that in early.
Yes.
I've seen, as I said at the very beginning, I've seen Harad and Khand go to war. So with any luck, we can get Umbar and Harad to go to war. Right, you guys go into that fort, and actually you lot head north, and we're going to try and kill Nimradan. So that we can use the fort, because if we don't, he will besiege that fort if he thinks he's stronger than it. Which he probably does think he is, so we need to deal with him so that we can use the fort. Just one of those minor ways that you actually have another, even ever so slight, but still there, another minor layer to your thinking of how am I going to plan this game out, basically. Right, we're getting into the turns now where I started to see the first attacks from nations on other nations.
Maintain order.
Oh, bugger. More bloody rebels. And he actually opted to stay ambush. Call in the big guns.
Forward. Let us set
Let's
up
hit our money so hard. Of course it would. I'm quite pleased that Gobel Tolflas is now a stronghold, because I did always used to think that whilst strategically it's in a really cracking position, giving you this naval base in the middle, it was a village for about 200 turns, which is useless. Absolutely useless.
Approaching their
So now it's actually good. It's a really good location to take. And the battle map is really cool. It's Osgiliath on land, and then it's the old Caer Andros on the sea, and it just looks really good. Oh, what do you want, Harad?
Noble one.
Oh, yeah, I'll take trade rights.
You bring words with meaning. Farewell.
Watch for the enemy.
Mission failed. No problems there. Construction report. Dol Amroth got the master. It can go one more, but it's about 5,000. Methras got some farming. Gobel Tolfalas got farming. And Thelen built its Mason's Hall. And we got some trade with Umbar. Right, take the lot of them.
My lord. Yes. Slay them.
Ah, Finglin don't want to play anymore. Well, we shall kill him.
This evil.
Teach him for bloody ambushing us. Captain Finglin has Corsair Black Guards who are bloody good, so we've got to watch out for them. 2 units of warriors and a unit of archers. But the full might of our custom bodyguard roster is bearing down on them. Of course, there's a very real threat, therefore, that I'm about to lose every custom general. I feel a little on edge, given my reputation for killing custom generals is so prevalent that you're all just going to be watching all of these battles thinking, he's going to die, he's going to die, oh, that one's going to die. Let us hope that our presence here will go unnoticed. I haven't seen the films in so long, I need to watch them again. I've been reading about Gondolin, though, in the Book of Lost Tales. I've made so many more notes. I'm pleased that I split the Gondolin video into 2, because the second one now is going to have substantially more in it than the first one had. And so many interesting things that Tolkien wrote about and then changed. So many interesting things. I'm really, really, really keen to talk about them, so that's cool. But I would rather save those for the lore videos. Apart from, the one thing that I find the most interesting is in the Book of Lost Tales tells the fall of Gondolin, long before Tolkien settled on the narrative that is used in the Silmarillion. And 2 things that really stand out to me in the fall of Gondolin are that he uses the word gods for the Valar. So the Valar eventually became the Valar and the Maiar, all starting out as the Ainu. But in the original earliest drafts of his work, way back when he drafted the Gondolin work, which is one of the first, he actually called them gods, and he uses the name Temple of the Gods, Path of the Gods, like the gods had forsaken them. Whereas in the Silmarillion and every later writing, he no longer uses the word gods. He always exclusively calls them the Valar or the Maya. And the other thing that I found really fascinating is he directly makes mention of the city of Babylon, highlighting how originally the Lord of the Rings was going to be far more intertwined with our own history. I couldn't believe it when I read Babylon, and I genuinely was like, that's surely a typo. That's one of those weird coincidences where the name in one of his languages is the same as in one of our languages. Which is the other location that you'll see that is Atlantis. The Tale of Numenor is remarkably similar to the Tale of Atlantis, and in one of the languages, the name of the downfall of Numenor is something like Atlantia, and it's like the similarities are too obvious to not make comment on. But Tolkien expressly says that that is purely because when he was creating his languages and building the backstory behind them, because the languages aren't just like, oh, what word shall I use for food? What word shall I use for tree? He developed them as much as our own languages developed. So, for example, I'm now speaking English, which comes from Anglo-Saxon, which comes from Old Norse, and it comes down the line, and it's that same thing. Tolkien did that very same kind of backstory to the languages for his own made-up languages, and that's amazing. So even though there are similarities with Atlantis, and as I say, I think it's Atlantia, but I could be wrong.
Only half
I most
the
likely
enemy
am.
force remains.
But it isn't actually meant to be Atlantis. Anyway, I'm rambling about languages. I really like the languages, and I don't think people on YouTube would. So far I've done one video about Sindarin, just because I like it so much, but I wouldn't go into like loads of depth. It's a niche topic of an already niche topic, and I don't think people would want it too much. Now, if you're wondering why I was so afeared of the Black Guards, it's because they are really good javelin troops, and I didn't want to incur the wrath of their javelins. Although our 2 units of Swan Guard, supported by our now 2 Nimrodel Ranger bodyguards at start, are massacring this Umberan force. I haven't even needed to pull any of these backlight in, although they're about to get some javelin throws on us, I think. If we can keep the deaths down just to our generals, that would be brilliant.
The battle is very much in our favour. Victory will be ours.
Oh. Alright, pull them back. Let's end this. You still firing at those archers? Not anymore. They're dead. Where did the Black Guards go? Ah, here they come. The Black Guards, please. I did wonder if they'd break as soon as they got near to us.
The enemy army
Yes, they did. 20 men fell. 20! Casualties sustained. Royal Swan Guard, 10 of those. Coastal Wardens lost 9, and the Archer Militia lost 4. Brilliant! The best units, the Pikes and the Nimrodel Rangers, lost nothing. That is a depiction of the fall of Numenor. Those are the ships that are escaping the downfall of Numenor, and in the background there is the Numenor aflame, with the large domed structure representative of the Temple of Melkor that Sauron made the Numenorians build. Unfortunately, really unfortunately,
we've destroyed them.
Obviously this is subjective, but the best stories in Middle-earth, in my opinion, Gondolin and Numenor, both end with the utter destruction of that race, of that nation, of that thing. Now, obviously, Numenor lives on to a degree in both Gondor and Arnor, but Gondolin is pretty much entirely destroyed. And the only thing really left of it is, of course, Elrond and Elros, whose father escapes the destruction of Gondolin, Eärendil. And the Glorfindel, of course, who appears later on in the story.
Protect the blood of Numenor.
Here we are, Captain Nimradan, more Corsairs. We should... I should have pulled the two armies together, actually.
Slay them!
No, I'm going to control that army. Save, DA Bree. Righty-ho, Nimradan, what have you got? Oh, not as good. Nowhere near as good. He's got Corsair Savages. They're a bit easier to kill.
Don't let them any further.
This is one of these battle maps. Utulian aure, aya el dalie, ara tanatari. The day has come. Start deployment. Do we have any archers? No, we've only got those. Where's our reinforcements coming in from? I can't remember. Now, what I am going to do is just try and use Imrahil as much as possible for a while. He gets the benefit of having an enlarged bodyguard because he is the faction heir. So he does an awful lot more damage. Fear nothing and fight well. Oh, we got Dol Amroth Squires. Yes. Now I cut him, Imrahil, in to hit the... No, actually, Imrahil. Hit those savages. Nice. Plunged very deep there. I'm talking about him being enlarged, and then I'm talking about how deep he's punching. This is turning into something filthy. Look at that.
For the moment, the
Oh, those Corsair warriors are upgraded. Ah, cool.
Pray it remains as such.
You're not getting a proper charge in there.
If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
That's enough to make them break. Hit those savages. You come in and hit those savages. You there. Some Corsair archers. You guys are just going to have to hold out. You're on your own. I tell you what, you go for them. You go for them. You also go for them. Well done, squires. Well, I say well done. You attacked really badly. The Corsair savages are running away.
Only half the enemy force remains.
Why are the squires in such a strange formation? Surely they're going to run now.
Behold,
there we go.
Cowardly foe runs. It's...
Captain Nimradan's fallen. It's over. We're mopping up the rebels. Well done, Imrahil.
Here today.
Oh, and you got the most kills as well. Imrahil is a beast. Unfortunately, there's no real way we can nerf him beyond what we've already done. And it's just, the game has then said, oh, you've given him a few too many troops there. Or a few too few troops. So I'm afraid I'm just going to have to add a couple more on. And so now he's still just as strong as he ever was. I mean, he's not 120 Knights of the Silver Swan or 80 Knights of the Silver Swan plunging into militia strong, but he's still
Gondor
damn
is
powerful.
victorious. Ready your weapons. Awaiting your command.
Let us set up camp.
Oh. Bandits. Making wolf noises because they're a band. Oh, I need to get out more. Oh, we're losing money. What?
Captain of Gondor.
Back into your
Let us
forts.
set up camp here.
Oh, you didn't come from a fort, did you? Oh, but look, they've trained even more. And they've got even more coming. Damn. You fort. Make your way to that fort. Those ones that we can get free from there. There we are. That gives us... Oh, and suddenly we're making an extra 700.
Protect the blood of
Interesting.
Numenor.
Ah, Diplomat. You were going for Umbar, weren't you?
What is it you wish to discuss?
Oh, it's all generous. It's all generous. Yes! Yes! Yes, Umbar!
Well, that seemed fruitful.
Bloody,
Well,
bloody brilliant. How have I started everyone's relations to be as awful as they can be. Terrible, see? Look, terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But Gondor, we're already improved to very poor. And for some reason, we're reasonable with both Harad and Khand. Oh, I bet that's because I entered into trade agreements with Umbar, which made Catholic nations in that area think slightly better of me.
Your orders.
And now I've entered into trade agreements with Umbar to make, again, the nations slightly more favourable towards me. I wonder then what Mordor thinks of me. In every single one of my tests, by the way, Mordor do attack Gondor. It seems to be that there's no real way to stop them doing that. But the point of the Total War Submod is not that it's totally swapped on its head. We're not aiming here that all the good nations go to war with good nations and bad nations go to war with bad nations. We're just hoping for randomness and a lack of formal borders, that kind of thing. And hopefully we will get that. New mission, take Tirathoros. Lynn here has built farming.
Maintain order.
My lord.
I'd like to
Always
give you...
happy to deal with you. Trust. How could we? The pleasure was all ours.
Right, Imrahil. Oh, bugger, they've got Gobel Mirland. I was going to try and beat them to it. That would have been a very good province to take. You won't have anything free until you get a town guard, which costs an awful lot more than it used to cost.
My lord. Yes.
You only get 2 free upkeep. That's rubbish.
Orders.
But there we are. If we keep it all as it is now...
Protect the blood of Numenor.
Sorry, do excuse me. I haven't really spoken all day. And now I'm talking for a straight hour. No, that's more than enough. That is more than enough. Mines are a bit costly. Shipwright gives us more boosts.
Mariners of the fleet! Mariners!
What we should look to do now, I think, is our sail away army to go and get a secondary. Let's hope, try and get Tharagrondost, yeah. Right, who are we going to send to lead this expedition?
Maintain order!
Protect the blood.
I suppose it would be a wise idea to send our general away from the place where we're fearing might be attacked.
By your command.
So if Adrahil and Barragund,
Maintain order! My lord.
you guys go and become... You're going to take the units that are in these forts, which is going to make us lose money.
Ready. Mariners of the fleet! Mariners!
Why can't you...
Mariners of the
Oh, it's
fleet!
because it's something to do with admirals, isn't it?
Mariners of the ships ready. Mariners! Breaking. Mariners of the
Bloody annoying,
Mariners! Mariners of the fleet!
It's because you can't add 2 admirals together or something like that.
Ships. Mariners of the fleet! Mariners!
Oh well. Sorry, they're shouting mariners over and over.
Mariners of the
Bye,
fleet!
Melder. You head back there. Pelander, you wait there. We are getting another unit, so we'll get those through. But Imrahil's army is going to remain. You go back to the castle. You give us a bit more money when you're in the castle. You guys come to the fort.
By your command.
And that one last unit also come to the fort. Now, I'm really hoping that people do attack people again. I mean, in all of my test ones, in one of them I was Ered Luin, one of them I was Linden, one of them I was Khand, and one of them I was the Vale of Anduin. And in all of them, people attacked people. But I didn't do anything. I just ended turn 16 or 15 times over. So... Ah! Yes! Proof that this time it's going to be different. Bets are on who are the first people to go to war. Dale and Erebor. Dale and Erebor have gone to war, everyone. So it begins.
Joining as you wish.
Right, that should be more than enough to go and secure... I'm hoping we can get Tharagrondost. I'd love to get Tharagrondost. But we might not be lucky enough to get Tharagrondost. We shall see. Oh, we've actually got some money. Where's the best place to use the money? I could get communal farming there. I could wait a turn and go for some mines. But the mines aren't very wealthy because they're only iron and there's only one resource of them all in each region. Although this now has the cheapest building, so if we are going to get mines, we want to go in Dol Amroth. Ah, which makes me think I should go for the Mason's Guild House. Because it's 5 grand now, but then everything is 26% cheaper. That's such a good boost. But then Dol Amroth doesn't have very many buildings left. Part of its problem, I suppose. What does Lynn here do? You're a town. They're normally better for this kind of stuff. You don't have too much going on, really, do you? I mean, I could get a port. Yeah, a port actually is better. If you going from a fishing village to a port is a massive boost. So we'll go for a port there, which will take us down to 2,000, which means Dol Amroth, you can have the farming. There we are. Almost. There we are. Do I want to move on Tirathoros? I'm not sure I do.
It is good to see you, my friend. How can we help? This proposal is of little interest.
They don't want my map information.
It
Alright,
was
I'll
a
pay you
fad
for map
until we
information.
meet
I like
again.
map info. And here is another change, which some of you will, which all of you will be new to, unless you're one of our beta testers. Umbar now controls the entire region around the Bay of Umbar. Khaldun has become Vinya Forestar to the north, and Ardamir has become Vinya Metalmar to the south. Props if you can tell me what the names mean. And these two regions are now slightly more inland, meaning that if you do bum rush Umbar with a ship early game, as Dol Amroth, you're only going to get their capital now. Khaldun is slightly away from Umbar, so you've really got to think, do I go early with Khaldun or do we sail all the way? And Ardamir is now protected inland, so it's more of a question with Umbar. And of course, with this being now version 2's as up to date as possible, you are seeing Umbar's much updated campaign strategy models, with the additions now from the developer diary, even different from like only a week ago. The red tents indicating their lordship over Harad. So that's very cool. Anywho, all of our hopes now lie on our expedition fleet. So end another turn, and away we go. And away we go. Excuse me, sorry. I've really enjoyed modding this week. I did a load of stuff. I learnt new things, which I always enjoy doing. And I'm just pleased with all the outcomes. Everything that's been added has been really good. And we've discussed at length this week Ered Luin, and we're moving on to discuss Angmar. So there's some more changes coming along. Oh, hold your breath, everyone. More diplomatic information. What do we think it is this time? Anduin and Mirkwood are at war. Misty Mountains and Imladris. So those are kind of default nations to be at war. Sorry, I am terribly sorry. I'm coughing
My lord. Yes.
like a 50-year-old smoker. You could get a cheap farm. Oh, hold on, we're building for the mines, aren't we? Or what am I building for? A port. Now, we're going to have 5,000 gold, so if you've got something that costs 1,000... Nothing costs 1,000 anymore. The cheapest building now, I think, is the Grain Exchange at 1,600. If you discount the first level of the Town Hall. Because you'll note that the first level of the Town Hall cost 800 coins and it took 1 turn to build. The second tier costs 4 turns to build and costs 3,600. Well, 4,000, that's been adjusted for reduction. And that is because the Town Hall is how you train units. And so in order to get people to train units quicker, we made the Town Halls cheaper. So whilst the turns now, everyone will take a little bit longer to do stuff, which is good. Your armies won't be as affected.
My lord.
Another end turn. So we close in on the end of episode 1. I am really enjoying this. I am really looking forward to our reckoning when Gondor do attack us, and I'm just... Everything I'm doing at the moment, I'm mentally preparing for when Gondor attack me. But as I say, if Gondor are foolish enough this time to go against Rohan and Mordor, then maybe we have a chance. The two horse nations can join together.
A fine day to sail.
As we approach the edge of Gondor's lands.
The enemies of Gondor.
Who's in Tirathoros?
Claim this
Only
field.
some mercs, some Haradrim archers, and some bandits. The garrison in this region, northern Horondor, this city is now called Tir Ithraid. Tir Ithraid used to be here, but I renamed that one to be far more fitting to the lore, and Tir Ithraid is now further south. Now this region is now called Horth and Ur, which isn't 3 words, it's Horth and Ur. And again, props if you can tell me why it's called Horth and Ur. I'm not going to tell you what it means in English because that would be cheating, and you'd get it immediately because its name is very self-explanatory in English. Did we get the port? No, we didn't. How much money? 800. So we don't want to do anything. We just want to end turn again so that Lynn here can build its port. I am, unfortunately, for those recurring viewers, I'm going to explain at the start of every episode what this Total War submod is, because I've had far too many comments of people totally oblivious to what this version means, what this game mode means, and then asking just ridiculous questions. And it makes me want to bore my own eyes out. So in an attempt to circumvent that, I'm going to explain. Misty Mountains and Dunland have gone to war. Anduin and the Misty Mountains have gone to war. And yes! Bree and Dine have gone to war. Yes! I was hoping for something as crazy as that. Now we're on, people. Now we're on. I really want Rohan to attack Gondor. It is the one war state that I am really rooting for in this campaign. Really rooting for. If Rohan don't attack Isengard, they only have to focus on Gondor, and the cavalry of Rohan will absolutely topple Gondor. I would love to see Rohan taking Minas Tirith from Gondor. Oh, we've got even more news. What is it? Angmar and Dunedain. Dunedain are spreading themselves a bit thin, aren't they? Or have Angmar seen that the Dunedain are up against Bree and they've taken the opportunity to pounce? Probably more likely. I'm very interested that Mordor have not attacked Gondor. And we're 15 turns in, and we're not too far away from the end of this episode, so let's have a look at the state of the world. So, nobody has taken An-Caragmir yet, and no one has taken Tirith because the garrison's quite good, although Harad are grouping up to get it. Amun-Ithel is now there, Imlad Khan is now more central over there. Khand and Harad look like they're about to come to blows, which is good. Shiruya, the Haradrim general, is facing off against Captain Akonid of the Khandish tribes. Khand and Rune tend to have very good relations, by the way, and because there's such a huge gap between Mataram and Oibamari, they really ignore each other. Same reason why Rune doesn't really go for Mordor, because Saragost is just too far away as a unit walks from Enmahath, which is the nearest location. Also, because Dorwinion, Rune, Dale and Erebor have so many rebel regions all around them, in all of my tests, none of those declared war against anyone yet, other than obviously Dale and Erebor, because Rune and Dorwinion was spent all that time just mopping up regions that were rebel first. So, but I'm interested to see if the Dunedain are now going to lose, basically, because they've attacked on north and south. So we shall see. Oh, and of course, yes, another change, sorry, it's spitting them around. The region of Herretshire is now far more oddly shaped, and Enedwaith no longer looks like a penis. Pardon my French, and I'm very pleased at that. Oh, I've also just seen that Isengard have got Belorn, so our attempts to sail around and take that are going to come to nothing, aren't they? Oh well, we'll go all the way, we'll attack Enedwaith and we'll take Lonter.
Ships ready.
I tried to do that in the first one, we can do that again now.
Fine day to sail.
One thing about the public order,
Can go no further.
because I absolutely hate the notion that towns far away from the capital would rebel easier in Middle-earth. I don't think that would be a thing in Middle-earth. I don't like the idea of it. So the distance to capital is practically negligible in public order, which also benefits partly because we modders are naturally more inclined to do things that we enjoy, and I like having empires that are separated by thousands of miles. I like the Crusade aspect, I suppose. Having my solid, dependable state, building an army and marching half the world away and taking some great city over there. I used to do it a lot in the base game when I played as England, and I would go and take Constantinople. And then you'd have two locations to play out from. And it always really annoyed me that Constantinople hated me because it was half the world away from my capital. So that's a minor aspect now. This battle I'm not going to play, as this very soundly rounds out this episode. So I instead shall end here. And I do sincerely hope that you have enjoyed this first episode as much as I have enjoyed recording this first episode. We have great things in store with Northern Dunedain and Bree going to war. We're about to join into that arena once again. And fingers crossed, everyone, that Gondor and Rohan come to blows, because then we can stab that knife into the back of Gondor. As Gondor lays on the floor bleeding, they can turn to us and say, in a very troubled voice, "Et tu, Dol Amroth?" And we shall say yes. We are the ones that betrayed you, Julius. Anywho, for now, that will end this episode. So I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. And until we speak again, dear friends, Navarna den perimat melanin, and farewell.